Okay. So, welcome everybody. It's really nice to be back. Welcome, Tia. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be with us. I'm really excited to be doing the sort of COVID, edition of the Inspiration series. I feel that it's important right now to bring people on that can give all of you resources to make this situation, hopefully healthier, a little bit more peaceful, a little bit more supported. So Tia, I'm going to let her introduce herself, and she can tell us a little bit about her passion and why she became a coach. She is a parenting coach. She's a mom of two boys. She's a wealth of knowledge, and I'm really excited to share her with you. So Tia, do you want to let us know a little bit about how you became a parenting coach and why you're so passionate about it?
Yeah, so thanks for having me. My name is Tia. I do own my own business, Tia Slide and Parenting Solutions, where I work with parents typically who have kids under the age bracket of 0 to 12 years. And I'm super passionate about it. And it stemmed from way back when I was a kindergarten teacher in the States. I have my master's in early ed, and I was a teacher for years in a low income neighborhood in a low income school where I had 35-year-olds every year who 90% did not speak English, had never been to school before, had multiple families living under one tiny roof. And it was eye opening. And I realized through my teaching that it was all about having the right tools to get these kids where they needed to go. They came to me from point A, and I had to get them to point B, speaking my language, reading, writing, meeting state standards, learning how to follow classroom rules, sit crisscross, wait in a line. They knew nothing. And it wasn't because I was magic and I am, the end all be all. It was because I had consistency, I nurtured them, and I believed in them. And I fully believe that as a parent and a teacher, those three things are so important, and you can make miracles happen with the right tools and believing in these three things.
So I'm going to just repeat the three things again. So you said it's consistency,
100%.
nurturing,
Yeah.
and rituals.
Believing in your kids.
Believing in your kids. Okay.
Yeah.
Consistency, nurturing, and
Nurturing.
believing in them,
Yeah.
or helping them believe in themselves, I guess.
Yeah,
Giving them.
they are so capable. And I always try and remind myself and remind clients I work with that it's a simple phrase, but you'll never forget it. And my mentor teacher taught it to me years ago. But kids can do, and kids can do so much more, starting from toddlers and up. Our kids are so capable. And when we do too many things for them, we rob them their sense of capability. And then you see these negative behaviors come, and that's a whole nother issue. But we really need to believe in them.
Yeah. That's a whole other interview in and of itself. That's something that
Yes.
I'm really interested in learning about, because I think there's so many parents that think they're serving their kids by doing everything for
Mhm.
them. And maybe
Mhm.
that's what they were taught. Like, I know I came from a family where my mom did everything for me. She still kind of does. But I've since learned how that didn't serve me.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I've since
Yeah.
learned how, I have different issues because of that. Right. So I'm trying to be more mindful with my own children to not do everything for them. Although it's very innate, I find it's kind of
It's
like,
hard to break your
yeah,
habits that you grew up with. It's very hard. And that's why parenting's such a challenge, because it's not intuitive, it's a learned skill. And we're basically trying to figure it all out based on how we were parented. And
yeah,
so we're not getting the tools we need. And it's really hard. It's a hard, cycle to break and to shift. And it takes time, but it can be done.
and for sure. And parenting now, I think, is probably more challenging than ever, right?
Yes.
Not have space from your kids, which I'm
Yes.
for me, like as a mama, as like space, self,
Big breath.
it's what I preach, right? And it's hard now. Like, my self care is locking myself in the bathroom, and
Yeah.
like where I'm getting my moments. It's like,
Yeah.
so I'd love to talk about how we can, maybe use this time that we're around more in a way that would actually serve our relationships with our kids versus what I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are going through, which is the latter, which is just rubbing up against
Mhm.
so much tension because of the lack of space, because of the frustration on both ends. So, could we talk about that? Like, do you have any
Yeah.
perspective on that? How can we use this time, and how can we settle that reactivity that we're feeling because of the lack of space?
Yeah, that's great. So the first thing is with all the butting heads and the playing games of tug of war back and forth, until we, the parents, make a change, it's going to continue. So our kids are looking to us to be the guide. So as much as we keep yelling or putting them in timeout or thinking that we're going to get them to stop, they're not going to until we guide them how to stop. And so what I want you to think about just as a small little tool is to put your end of the rope down. So when you get into the heat of the moment and you're starting to battle and you're starting to sweat and you're feeling frustrated and you feel like you're going to start yelling or reminding and you've had it, I want you to just think about putting your end of the rope down and realizing that if you keep your end up, you might win in that moment because you're bigger or you're stronger or you're the grown up. But that same behavior is coming back again tomorrow and for the rest of the day. And right now, when you're trapped in your house with everybody and not having those outlets, you're not going to get anywhere. It's just going to get worse. So I want you to put your end of the rope down and go to the bathroom and lock yourself if you need to. Take a moment to breathe. You don't need to solve everything that second. You can model really great role modeling to walk away and say, I'm frustrated. I need a minute to take 3 deep breaths, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk. Just that redirects, shifts the emotions, changes everybody's feelings about what's happening. So I want you just to keep that in mind. But I also want you to set yourself up for success right now because there are some positives to what's happening right now. Globally and in our environment, we're seeing positives. Families are walking together that never walked before. They're having family dinners that they never had before. And I know we feel, and I use the word stuck at home or trapped at home, but I want you to think about it as an opportunity to build your connection with your kids. And by using the right tools and setting yourself up for success, which I'm going to talk about, it's going to help you make the most of this opportunity. Okay. So
all of it. Let's get right into that.
Okay.
I love what you said, an opportunity to, connect deeper with your kids. And really the truth of the matter is we're not always going to think about this, but in 5 or 6 or 7 years from now, when hopefully, God willing, this is an old, dark memory, we'll probably even take for granted maybe this time that we had, right? And so I'd love for you to really instill that in people through this interview, how they can do that, what steps they can start taking, and how to shift back into that mindset maybe when they've really lost their way.
Yeah. It's so important the glass is half full. So it's either half full or it's half empty right now. And the only way we're going to get through this really is you can suffer your way through it at half empty, or you can try and make the most of it at half full. And so if we think about those 3 things of, being nurtured, consistency, and believing in your kids, if you can start setting up your day that way, that's going to help you get through your day. So to start, I want you to think about nurturing. So I use the analogy that your kids have these 2 giant buckets above their head, and they're invisible red buckets. And imagine these above your kid's head every single day. And one is power and one is attention. And your kids desperately need to fill these buckets daily, or they are going to have negative behaviors trying to fill them. So it's our job as parents to proactively give them positive power and positive attention in ways that are going to work for us, so that they don't have to try and make it work for them through tantrums or not listening, slamming doors, eye rolling, all that stuff that drives us crazy. So
what does the power and attention do for their brain?
Okay, so what happens is your kids are born with, I want to just break it down into 2 boxes. They've got a basic needs box and an emotional needs box. This basic needs box is their need for sleep, nutrition, safety, and security, okay, shelter. So if you don't have sleep figured out, you've got negative behaviors going. 90% of behavior issues stem from lack of quality quantity sleep. So if you're in the basic needs box and you can check off,
I would say with that.
Yeah.
For adults.
It's crazy. The behavior with lack of sleep for parents and for kids it's a no starter. You literally have to be there, start there, check that box before you can move on. So we're not going to talk about sleep today, but we can do that another time.
We're going to
Yes, but I'm going to leave you some resources. And if you're struggling with sleep, I have a really reasonably priced online gentle sleep plan, and you can follow it through, and it gives you more than just sleep. It's going to talk about all this stuff we're talking about today. Yeah, so Jody, you'll send that with the show notes. So that's great. But I want you to think about that basic needs box. That's your child's need to have these basic needs met. Once you check off basic needs, you can move over to the emotional needs box. This is where your kids have their power and their attention. And your child's power is their need to feel capable. And that's why we need to believe in our kids. They need to, that's their confidence, their self-worth. How do they fit in the world? How do they fit in your family? What's their place? For those of you with siblings, does your middle one think the baby gets all the attention? Does the toddler cry all the time so your old one acts out because they feel like that's how they get attention? Think about your child's place in your family, and that directly relates to their confidence and their power, okay? The attention seems straightforward in that it's just attention from those that they love. But attention has two tricky parts. And one part is that your kids will take positive or negative attention, and they really don't care. So if you're yelling at your kids all day, if every time they tantrum, you roll your eyes and you get mad and you throw them in a timeout, they're okay with it because they're saying, I need to fill my attention bucket. And you know what? Mom's in front of me right now. She's not talking to dad. She's not talking to brother or sister. This is awesome. I'm going to keep doing this. Mom is telling me I should tantrum more and longer and harder because I'm going to get attention, and that's going to help me meet my emotional needs. The other thing about attention is perspective. And that is your child's need to know that they're getting attention from their perspective. So if you think about your parenting and what we kind of started the conversation with, all day long, we are like around our kids. Oh my gosh, we're driving them places normally, planning birthday parties, play dates, signing up for activities, cooking, cleaning, laundry. All we do is stuff for our kids from a parent's perspective. But from your child's perspective, they say, hey, mom and dad, you had me. That's your job. Where's my attention? I'm waiting for it. Yeah. So when we can start to fill these power and attention buckets and check off the basic and emotional needs, that's kind of your roadmap to easier parenting.
Okay. So in terms of positive, could you give some ways that we could do positive attention right now, currently, during the quarantine situation, to maybe preempt the need for negative attention?
Yes. So that is that proactive, fill up those power and attention buckets. And I have so many tools. I have this entire handbook filled of over 100 pages of tools that you could go on for days filling up power and attention buckets. But I want you to know that they're okay. So this one is my number one most important one. And then I'm going to give you one for power. So this one's mainly for attention, to help fill up that attention bucket from their perspective, which is key, but it's also going to give them power. So my number one tool is called Golden Time.
I have a question. Sorry, before you start into this. When you say from their perspective,
yes,
that's really can be tricky, because what if their perspective is not like aligned with the truth?
So their perspective, so
the
truth in that you're feeling you're giving them attention and they might not think you're giving them attention. Is that what?
When you say it's their perspective of how they're getting attention only, or their perspective of what's happening in the situation, you have to align with it?
No, so we're not ever going to align. That's the crazy thing. We're going to be over here and they're going to be over here. But if you can use certain tools, it automatically ensures that you're meeting their needs from their perspective. So they need to be aware that they are getting attention. So if you were driving your kids to soccer one-on-one, once you start using this tool I'm going to talk about, you are giving them one-on-one attention, but we just need them to know that. So I'm not going to tell you have to recreate your whole day and start spending all this time with your kids. With this tool, you're going to spend 10 minutes in the morning, and then you're going to add it into your bedtime at night. But what's going to happen, and you're already doing it at bedtime, so you're not adding anything in. Let me clarify that. You're basically adding in 10 minutes. But what's going to happen is when you start filling up attention buckets proactively in the beginning of the day, your kids start feeling really good from the beginning of the day. So it has 5 ingredients, and I'll list them. but I want to know that Jody's going to post the link where you can go and you can get a free download of what the ingredients are, and that it'll also link you automatically if you want to join my $27 Golden Time course, where I coach you through a video and give you a workbook and tons of information. So you're going to get it all.
Is that what you're about to describe? Is this something that we should all be doing, like right when our kids get up during this time, especially because it's so challenging? Like this would really start them on the right foot?
Yeah. So what's going to happen is right now during COVID and ongoing, I want you to be using Golden Time. And I always tell clients, each tool I'm going to give you is not a life sentence. You don't have to say the word Golden Time for the rest of your life. I do not have to say it with my 8 and 11-year-olds. But I now know during my day how to squeeze it in so that they know they're getting attention. If I see they're feeling down, if they're not having a good day, I can pull it out of my pocket and say, hey, it looks like you and I need to have a little Golden Time. Should we go? And now I'm automatically using that tool to my benefit to save me time and energy. So what I want you to think about is that you're going to include the 5 ingredients, and it's one-on-one. I'm not going to go into depth over it because I want to be sure we can move on, but you can download it. It's one-on-one. It's twice a day, and that's because our kids will be starving for attention if you don't do it. Doesn't have to be the second you wake up, but I'd like you to do it. Like if you're struggling to get your kids dressed and have them brush their teeth, use this to your benefit. Give them Golden Time ahead of it, or say to them, as soon as you're ready, we have time for Golden Time. Use it to your benefit so that it works for you. So it's one-on-one, it's twice a day, 10 minutes is my guideline. You want to do more, great. You can only get 5 minutes, great. Something is better than nothing. You're going to give your child the choice of the activity. So you're going to set this up with them and make a list with them, help them write the list if you need to, but it's going to be their choice. That gives them power. Okay. You're going to unplug. You're going to put your phone and your computer and everything away. Sometimes kids love to have a parking spot. They can take my phone and say, okay, I'm going to park it in the kitchen drawer during Golden Time. It gives them a lot of power. It makes them feel in control. You're filling power buckets again. And then I want you to name it. I call it Golden Time. You don't have to. Clients of mine call it cupcake time, kip time, special time. Doesn't matter as long as it has a name. Without a name, you miss the perspective piece. They don't know they're getting it. You're just doing your job.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
And when you introduce this Golden Time to them, are you saying to them, or whatever we call it, this is a special time that we will be doing whatever it is that you want?
Yeah. So I want you to,
and this is
I want you to get excited about
attention. Like, are we saying that directly? Like, this is your time to have mommy's attention undivided?
I would say we're so busy, and if you have brothers and sisters, or you have work or whatever, where mommy and daddy are so busy and we want to spend more time with you, but it's hard. So we're going to start this special thing called whatever you want to call it. And we're going to do it every day, 2 times a day. So I have to know all the things you love to do, and then give some ideas. Is it puzzles? Is it snuggling up and reading? Is it going for a walk and holding hands? For older kids who are teens and tweens, is it doing a workout class together in the basement? Is it spending time to journal together? It doesn't matter what it is, as long as they like it and they have the choice. Sometimes parents are really like, well, I don't know, they want to go to the park and we can't go to the park. Right now, you're going to have to control the environment and say, let's add that to our after COVID list. I don't want to, disregard your ideas, but right now it's not safe, but let's put it there. And that way we have it on hand. Yeah. Let them know you hear them. Okay. So that's going to be your nurturing piece. Big time, big time. Okay.
And that in and of itself, you think, or you've seen, changes the behaviors overall, that Golden Time in and of itself, if people did nothing else.
They did nothing else. I want you to keep in mind, if your child is up all night and they're not sleeping well, it's really hard to get them involved, invested, and change behaviors. That being said, it's still going to be a positive moment for your kids. I still want you to do it. If you're not ready to fix sleep right now, I still want you to do Golden Time. It is so important, and it works every single time. It is bulletproof. It is foolproof. And if you want more info on how to do the buckets and understand this, that $27 course is your ticket to setting you up, implementing it, a downloadable template and calendar to help you be sure that you're accountable. All of that's in there. But this tool is my number one thing, because your kids want to be connected to you more than anything in this life.
Yeah. And especially probably more right now, because they're scared. So could we actually segue into that? I'd really love to illuminate from your perspective and your expertise, Tia, how to talk to children about what they're feeling right now through this situation. I know for me, my 6-year-old is really now starting to feel it. The first few weeks, I think we're going into week 4. The first week was March break, so whatever.
Yeah.
And week 2 and 3, it was still kind of fun. And now he kind of is sad, and he's disappointed, and he wants to see his friends, and it's hard, and I'm heartbroken too. How can we safely guide them in a positive way through this?
Yeah. So it is hard. And my 11-year-old has had some tears before bed and missing that he's not going to be able to say goodbye to his teacher, and he's not going to have the end of his year. And he's really, processing all of this. It's important, one, as parents, that we manage our own feelings with this. So more than whatever you say to your kids, I don't care if you talk to them for hours about COVID. If you are not feeling and role modeling that you feel okay right now, they will not feel okay. So if that means setting up some routines so that you get up in the morning, you make your decaf coffee, thanks to Jody, your decaf coffee, and you go to the basement and I work out, and then I shower and I start my work. I show them that life is going, life is moving on. I'm okay. If mom and dad are okay, they will be okay. You are their number one. So whatever you're battling with the most right now as parents, it's important to try and create some consistency and routine for yourself. I also want you to set up consistency for your child. So setting up some really age appropriate routines for the day. Make some visual charts, and Jody can send a link for some free chart ideas. But I want you to think about setting up a really consistent breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, dessert, whatever you want. And in between, fill it with stuff. Fill it with your golden time as part of your little schedule. Then they're going to feel ready to play independently a little bit because they've just had their time. Now you have a little your time and they do something independently. Maybe it's structured coloring, or maybe that's when you give them their show for the morning. Then maybe you have outside time. Maybe as you go for a walk, maybe you do a scavenger hunt. Put in your schedule what you're going to do for the day. It's going to bring down your anxiety. It's going to help you get through the day, and your kids' behavior is going to improve just by knowing what's coming next. Right now, kids have no structure. They used to go to school and wake up and get dressed and see their friends and go to sports. There's no structure. It's every day's Groundhog's Day. But if you can create a schedule, then you say, and it will help decrease battles. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have our screen time until after lunch, but it's coming up soon. Done. You don't have to pick up your end of the rope and battle with them. It's on the chart. They believe you, it's visual, and it's going to help you decrease battles and decrease anxiety. So that is part of the way you're going to talk to your kids, is by role modeling that you're okay and helping to set them up with some routines and structure so that they know that they're okay. And then you're going to sprinkle in some of the other things. So for your son, for sure, who's 6, children's books, 100%. I want you to grab books and read books about sickness and germs, and being away from family.
Do you have any good suggestions for those types of books?
Yes. So actually, I'll send the link as well, but I have a children's book corner on my site, and it's in the resource section. And literally you can go in there and there's everything, if you're struggling in other areas, from emotions, anger, bullying, germs, healthy bodies, new brothers or sisters, baby coming home, anything. You click that topic you want, and I have covers of all the books that I would recommend, and you can just click and Amazon will send, so that you don't have to waste time on the internet. But children's books, like for toddlers, that's the way you're going to communicate with toddlers. It relates from their level. The language is easy for them, and it's going to bring an ability for you to have a conversation with them, and that'll segue your conversation instead of just bringing it up. For older kids, like my son who's 11, we're just talking about it a lot. Sometimes at dinner, our routine is to do a rose and a thorn. We talk about the beauty of our day and the thing that wasn't so great. Right now, we've been talking about what is our top thing that we love about COVID, and what is the thing that's hard about COVID. And they come up with things, and it's amazing to hear their perspective about why they like it or why they're frustrated. And then there you go, there's room for conversation. And now you've opened those doors to communicate. So we want our kids to know they're seen, heard, and understood. So they are feeling a lot of emotions right now. And by connecting with Golden Time and by opening up conversations, you are helping them understand that their emotions are all okay.
Mm-hmm. Mhm. And giving them space to feel them
Yes. Yeah.
and to
If it,
talk about them. It's really, really, I think, really important. I think a lot of parents don't know what to do with their child's pain,
mhm.
right? Do you have any advice for that? Because I hear that a lot. Like, I don't know what to do when my child's in so much pain.
Well,
And now it's going to be more often than not where our children are sad and disappointed and frustrated, right?
yeah.
How can we relate to them in that spot, and you know keep ourselves grounded as well?
Yeah. So you're going to for sure do golden time and set up routines because you're going to see a decrease in
So
that
that
sadness.
in and of itself might shift some of the sadder emotions.
100%. Those are your proactive tools. That's going to help fill up those attention and power buckets and start getting you on the right track. You will see less sadness and less anxiety and less worry when you start doing these things. But sometimes when our kids are really upset, you don't have to say anything at all. Sometimes it's good just to be there, to listen, to snuggle them, to hold them. I still curl up in bed with my 11-year-old and I just hug him, and there's sometimes that's all they need. Sometimes we feel like we need to fix everything for our kids, and we're not really supposed to be their fixers. We're there to guide them and give them the tools to feel self-sufficient and confident in battling and solving life's obstacles on their own. And that's part of just being there for them.
I love that. And I think that's really important for people. And we'll sort of conclude on that note that parents, you don't have to fix your child's pain ever in normal life, especially not during COVID.
Hmm.
There's going to be sadness, there's going to be disappointment, there's going to be frustration on all ends. That's normal. And to just listen, hug them, tell them you understand, tell
Yeah.
them you hear it, how hard it is. It's okay to feel all that stuff. Like, that is enough.
Yeah, that is enough. Yeah, and adding in some of those proactive tools to help you feel more equipped and more in control. And you're going to start to see shifts every day, and then you'll feel better and your kids will feel better, and it's going to be a life changer for sure.
Amazing. So I'm definitely going to start that. It's very simple, that golden time.
It's simple.
And I'm really curious to see, what unfolds. So I'll keep you guys all tuned into that, and we'll have
Yeah,
you back, and maybe we could, get a little bit more deeper into some of these concepts.
for sure. Anytime. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Take care of yourselves.
Bye.
Bye.